2, 3, 50 people and counting, 3 likes. Smash that like button. We'll start with that. Because, well, that's important. We should do that. Hey, he's hiding, camera shy. So yeah, no, I am. We've kind of figured this out. 2 live streams now, last Thursdays and the one that we did with how they got hacked. I don't know how to troubleshoot this because it's on YouTube's end. I hit the go live button and it doesn't let me actually hit. You have to do 2 things. One, we press the little live spinny button we have on this device here, and then we actually push the go live button. It's well, I can share that with you. There. Actually, nope. Now there's a new problem. The go live button is right there where it says end, is also the same place that will let me go live. So for some reason unknown and unannounced to me, it just gets stuck and doesn't actually go live. Who knows? I don't. Anyways, enough of that stuff here. I just finished. We grilled. Well, I say we would be the incorrect term. Chicken was grilled today, and that was good. We got a grill here, so I should have put that in the announcement that we have a grill. And I seen someone posted on Reddit a grill with RGB lights on it, and I'm like, goals. You know, we need a grill with RGB lights. The new YouTube producer interface. Yeah, it's I don't know. We've been using the new interface for a little while. We haven't had problems with it until the last 2 streams where, I don't know, I have to refresh the page a couple times for reasons unknown, and then it works. So, yeah. I don't know that I want to work for YouTube. I don't know. I guess I'll work maybe for YouTube. They have to make the job offer anyways. I'm catching up my nose watering because we had some new hot sauce. We got to do a hot sauce review. We've had so many of them, and it's one of those I don't know where to start is part of the problem. So, yeah. You grilled a chicken. Did it spill the beans? Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Kyle had a joke about that earlier, and I already forgot what it was, and I liked it. Oh well, he'll come up with it. It was something we wanted to call a company, something related to chicken wings. Anyways, back to work. Getting started. I actually literally just finished eating just before I started this, so I'm like trying to take it all in, trying to get the hot that made my nose done. So a couple things, and we'll talk about this IT Pro TV. I'll get this out of the way real quick, so I wanted to bring it up. Is it go.IT Pro TV? This is in our affiliate links, and it'll be in the links below. And I'll bring this up. It's go.IT Pro TV LTS, and of course we added it to our affiliate links. It will be in the description of the video if you're watching this in post. And any of you interested in, I've dropped the link in there, and I think I can actually do this. We're going to show you in real time how I edit things, because why not? Our forums, special guest. Ooh, we got to get that out. He's not a special guest today. IT Pro TV. There we go. Offer. Sweet. All right. Now it's saved in there. Anyways, IT Pro TV. Why did I choose them as a sponsor? And I actually am going to say the words choose them. And the reason why is because with IT Pro TV, we were already using them. And I would say not are easy to get a hold of when it comes to sponsoring. They're nice people. I reached out to them and didn't hear back immediately. Then they emailed me back maybe, it was like a month after I had reached out to them. But I didn't want, we got to keep the lights on, got to pay the bills. So, working on affiliate deals are ways you do that. But I wanted something that would give you a discount and actually provide value for people that watch the channel. I mean, this is completely optional. There's no obligation to sign up for them. But I'm bringing them up because IT training is something that is important. Is having a lot of knowledge is a huge part of what you do. You're basically at some levels into a lot of knowledge management when you work in IT. And we do use this product. We were using the product, and after we used the product, I said, hey, I kind of like this thing. I wonder if they would do a deal with sponsorship, because it seems like there's an alignment of the people between this. So we have an offer code on there, and we're going to have it at the bottom of our channel, added to our affiliate pages and things like that. They're good people. And, I'm not a high pressure when it comes to sales. I just bring up and mention vendors that provide some value. to our audience and, help everybody out. So it's kind of a win-win all the way around. I didn't want to get into what drives me nuts is that you listen to a lot of the podcasts, and I'm kind of over Casper Mattress. They're not a sponsor. I don't want them as a sponsor, but it seems like every podcast I listen to has them as a sponsor, and it kind of gets exhausting at times. So it's a thing. Let's see. I need a console cable for my Netgate. No, you don't. You need a USB cable for any of the modern Netgates. Yeah, LEDs that cook the food. There's an idea. I like it. Hello, hope I am well. I am well. The running nose is not cold. It is habanero. It's driven by habaneros. Hello from Finland. Awesome. PF Sense is very nice. So glad you're enjoying PF Sense all the way over in Finland. More people getting to PF Sense. I would say that console cable is probably universal. Well, they're just USBs on most of them, so they're USB console cables. And you can find the write-up on Netgate's site about them. They're pretty straightforward and simple. Get a haircut, hippie. No, I don't get haircuts. Well, I get hair trimmed, so it's only my ponytail is only about that long right now. So no, that's it. Glasgow, Scotland. Awesome. Scotland's really cool. Don't ban me. Unraid fanboy. Yeah, I don't have anything against Unraid. I don't have a use case for that as the things I like to repeat, but yeah, whatever. That's kind of a thing. The 10 gig lab is probably booting up right now, so we are probably going to talk about that. Hey, already an IT Pro member. That's good. Like I said, the fact that any of you are already, and someone had messaged me that's a fan of the channel and has interacted with me a couple times before, and same thing, they said they were already a member as well. They said they let their subscription lapse, but they really liked the content and everything on there. They were, that's great. That means I picked someone who does align with my audience. The fact that either some of you are currently using or probably evaluating it. So, it's crazy how much stuff is floating around the internet trying to pop stuff. Might have misconfigured. I still guess could have. Seems like blocking a bit. I'm not sure. I saw 40 gig NICs and are super cheap on eBay. Maybe the prices are finally starting to fall. They've been around for anything that's been around for a while is going to get cheaper. So I think it's called, is it the fiber channel 40 gig? I'm assuming what you might be talking about. I think that's what they're called. I'm not a 40 gig expert. But yeah, a lot of that. It's just like the 10 gig cards. 10 gig's been around for a really long time, like SFP Plus, and it's almost arbitrarily inexpensive. I mean, it depends on where you stand, but paying below $700 for a 12 port, a 12 SFP and 4 10 gig RJ45 ports, such as the XG16 by UniFi. That's not a real expensive switch in terms of what 10 gig used to cost just not that long ago. And that's what we're using right now. We got everything tied together at 10 gig, and it's just like, wow, it's just the prices keep getting lower and lower on it. See, let me see if the server is up and running, because I was going to poke at it too. 3 dot. I did a video on this the other day. Nope, still not booted yet. We just turned it on just before I started the live stream. It takes a minute for the server to come on, boot, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, we built another lab server that's going to be a whole lot of videos being done about, and it's in coordination. Me and Xavier are going to do some hacking videos together on it. So that's going to be kind of cool. I mean, expensive for a home. What's a college education cost? So you say expensive for a home lab, but when you look at what you would spend to have a college course, and if you needed some of that really high performance stuff in your home lab, well, it suddenly seems a lot less than the college education would cost. And if it got you that practical experience that then lands you a job that pays 6 figures, suddenly $600 doesn't sound outlandish for a switch. So it kind of comes on to opinions on that. Would pricing across the board 10 gig PCA cards pay $30 and could pay $150 for a single port? It's all the same thing, yeah. 11 4K cameras, NVR. Would you go with an all-in-one or build your own NVR? We've been, the video I posted earlier today, another one that we're selling. Now, granted, it's a smaller job, but we're really liking the Synologies. You got to spec it, of course, to a Synology that makes sense to you. And it just comes down to some of the software out there. the Synology's kind of got a nice affordable price point that's fitting the small business needs that we have for a lot of our clients. I know there's bigger systems. Yes, I've mentioned we use things like ExactVision at school systems and larger clients, but that comes down to budget. Do you have a budget that'll fit that and the license fees that go with it? We've used Blue Iris. I know people ask me, I don't know if I'll ever do an actual review on it. We have, I think, one client using it. It's okay. It didn't certainly wow me. I thought the interface was kind of yeah, but it's also been a few years since we set it up. It's been running fine, so I'll give them that. It's been sitting here running away, doing its thing with all the cameras and hasn't crashed, so it works. But I don't think their interface is wonderful, and it requires running in Windows. Yes, network hacking over at DC313. So, OpenSense, pfSense. The reason I don't like OpenSense is because the OpenSense has too many updates. Other than that, I don't really have anything particular against it, but it doesn't scratch an itch that I don't think pfSense, it doesn't have any features that wow me over pfSense. So that's kind of how I feel about it. You could grab the 4-port SFP MikroTiks. Well, yes and no. I haven't looked in a while, and we can look right now while we're on here. The problem I have with the 4-port ones, and Chris did a review of it. See any key? Oh, let's all look together. RO MikroTik 10 gig switch. They were always out of stock, so it wasn't a matter of that. Let's see. Oh, good, they're back in stock for now. So they're $159. I was debating about picking one of these up. They're kind of cool in terms of, being able to have an SFP for $159. They're cheap, so that's pretty cool. They're just not consistently in stock. They're in stock now, but even Chris, I don't know if he mentioned in his video, but he said I think it took him 3 months from the time he ordered it till the time it got there. The problem with recommending a product that's constantly out of stock or has inconsistency when you're trying to order is people get angry and go, hey, where did you get it from? Where can I get one from? And I'm like, I don't know, out of stock again. And even when we've called the direct vendors that sell these, they've had the same problem. They said they're a good seller. A lot of home lab people seem to like them, but they may not get stock in an inventory for them for a month or two at a time. So I don't think they're bad. There's a couple people that did reviews of them. I don't have a use case for one in our lab right now. That's why I don't have, if I bought one, it'd be only to review. I don't have an actual use case for using it. But yeah, they're pretty neat little boxes. They do 10 gig. That's not bad. What do I think of Sophos UTMs? I think I have one back here. And I don't like their interface at all. So their interface is, I don't know, less than good, but they seem to be okay firewalls. So they're not a bad firewall. Their interface is kind of mediocre to me. That's how I feel about them. Any of the work we did, we pulled that one out because it wouldn't do all the things the client wanted to do, and he got sick of paying licensing fees. They wanted to go pfSense and VPNs and a bunch of other features that pushed the limits of that, so we went with pfSense and are happy. Take that for what it's worth. We've actually pulled out 3 of them now, so for different people. I don't hate them. I think if you use the Sophos UTM with the entire Sophos antivirus package, like the whole software integration, it's a really tight, cool integration with a Sophos dashboard. It doesn't look like a bad product. It doesn't really fit into our stack, and I haven't really looked at swapping our whole stack over to that as a product. MotionEye 16 cameras server just became a brick. Impressed with the current state of MotionEye. Yeah, MotionEye is pretty cool. Milestone VMs. I don't know what that is. Well, yeah, there goes $160. Yeah. Does it? No, I don't think that little one there, to my knowledge, doesn't have a rack mount. At least I don't know of a rack mount. So, UniFi versus NetGate with pfSense, which we refer. I guess if you mean the UniFi gateway, I have a video I'm going to be doing soon about it. But the short answer is, I think the UniFi gateways are cool products. And I have one on a shelf because I was going to do a review about this. So everyone keeps asking about it. I've done a review, and people go, but that review's old, Tom. Didn't this get like a ton more features? Sorry, don't get me wrong. I love you guys over at UniFi. We sell your Wi-Fi all day long. Until these get some really good features, like, you know, multiple IPs on the WAN port, good VPN support for user-based VPNs. When those features come in, I can recommend them more. But if you want a system that has a whole lot of features, you got to go to the Netgate. If you don't need those features, great box. But as soon as you start needing a bunch of features, you're gonna like a flat line on it. You're like, hey, I want to load PF blocker, do DNS blocking, and here's a list of advanced rules along with a couple different VPNs, and I want a whole site VPN, but I only want selective IP routing and everything else. So I want a VPN kill switch. You start talking about any of those advanced things. It's not that I'm doing them on pfSense because I know pfSense. There's not a lot of other firewalls that can do all those advanced things through the web interface. Yes, I know, you could bust out the Linux command line and just start writing code and build your own firewall. Yes, absolutely you could. But pfSense, you can do it right through a web interface. That's why I like it. So it depends on your use case. And I'm going to do a video about that because it's going to start with your use case. We have clients using it. We have small offices using it. They have 0 features they're using. They just need internet in their office. That's it. That's a great box for that. As soon as they need all those advanced features, I love Netgate. I mean, I love UniFi. I wish they had a firewall that would complete this circuit, but yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna quit babbling about that. People keep asking of OpenSense. I have to do a video on it, I guess, to where I just tell people I don't have a use case for that. OpenSense doesn't have anything that makes me want to switch to it. Matter of fact, it has a thing that I don't want to switch to it. It has more frequent updates. Firewalls are the front line of defense that separates the internet and all kinds of things going on from the inside of your network. A firewall that needs frequent updates, even that's because they're adding features, not necessarily having security problems, it obviously creates a problem because, well, we have a lot of clients that we have to keep up to date. And adding one more firewall to the mix that doesn't add any value but certainly adds more complexity doesn't sound like it. Matter of fact, a few people have told me that have used both, and I have not used OpenSense, that OpenSense hides more things. It's kind of like playing catch up to pfSense in terms of full feature parity. I don't know if that's absolutely true. I know that's what people in comments have said on YouTube. Take that for what it's worth. Maybe one day I'll use it, but it's not really high on my priority list. I have an in-depth video about PF Blocker. I have 2 of them, one about blocking DNS and one about GeoIP blocking inbound. They're actually quite viewed, so I think that counts as I'm waiting till the final is released on the new version. I've been playing with it a little bit, so once the final is released on a new version, I'll do a new video because they did change things a lot. Lack of multi-WAN is a showstopper for, everyone's environment. Multiple WAN IPs is pretty much like all over the place. That's a common configuration that UniFi is just missing. WatchGuard. I haven't used them in a while, but they are a headache. I just don't care for them as a firewall. There's nothing impressed me. I really hated the old ones that used to have to use some stupid Windows software to create the objects and push them into the firewall. It was a terrible piece of software. Having to use Windows to admin a firewall and create rules and push configs back and forth to it's just bad. It's a bad design. Let's see. I put a USG Pro in my office, set up load balancing and voice VLAN, and it's been working great. Yeah, it does that. That's a feature it will do. OpenSense seems disjointed. I've heard that from people too. Yeah, load balancing WAN. And they've had some bugs. I know my understanding is they've gotten much better for load balancing WAN, but they don't give you the fine-grained control for load balancing, dual WAN interfaces that you can get with Netgate. That's just something, it's like they have a basic option, which is good, and for a lot of people it works. But as soon as you start needing those advanced uses, yeah. Geoblock Russia and China, and you can cut your docs and brute force attempts about 99%. Palo Alto's okay. They're expensive. Let's see, when was the last time they had a backdoor? Let me look. Palo Alto back. It's been a minute. They had some they had some problems. And there are problems where I know a couple of the other big companies, Juniper had one too, and this is the problem with closed source one. They had some interesting vulnerabilities because of poor coding that no one could get around because of the problem of it's all closed source. So I don't think Palo Alto is a bad product, but I'm not. It's not like blowing my mind amazing or anything like that. There's nothing about it that makes me go, wow, I need that in my life. So it's really what we're seeing is a massive shift towards open source firewalls. It's been good for the Netgate team. They're selling really well. When we're seeing, like I said, I did a video about open source in enterprise, and people are like, well, it's not an enterprise. MasterCard uses it. One of the things I pointed out was MasterCard has had a ZipRecruiter listing to hire people who know pfSense. That's because they're using it. So if companies the size of MasterCard are using it, you could say it's, it's there. Like I said, I don't really hate Palo Alto, but they're okay. Let's see. Which PF firewalls do you recommend setting up at least 3 different VLANs? Anyone? It's not the number of VLANs. It's the speed at which you need to route at. That's what really matters. How fast do you need it to route? Your sewer. Oh, good. One of my staff said the server booted. Yay! Since start scratch. Let's see. Just bought an SG5100, replaced the Cisco ASA. Cloud management for pfSense? No, there's no cloud management for pfSense. That is not a thing they are. I don't know if they're ever going to do that. I've heard talk or something. Someone said, I don't know. I have no inside information on that. They do not have a cloud interface, so that's the thing. We tie them to Zabbix is how we would get information from them. So if you tie them to Zabbix, you can get uptime information and everything else. Oh, my server's still not pingable? Wait, or am I on the wrong network? There's a chance I'm on the wrong network. Can I switch networks and will it drop anything? Let's find out what happens when Tom switches networks. Hey, that went well. All right, network switched, and nothing dropped. Yes. Well, matter of fact, Azure does offer cloud-based, and so does a lot of others. And a lot of people don't realize when you start building your cloud stack, you need to have a firewall in front of it. Well, you may want to have, I should say, to handle a whole lot of features and things like that. So we've put them in colos, but yes, you can put them in Azure. Matter of fact, I have an interview I did with Corey Sanders, and we talked about that. He's the head of the Azure development for a while, and we were discussing all the BSD integrations in an interview we did with him a couple years ago of how they really brought all these tweaking into the Azure stack so they could do things like run pfSense inside of there. Because even though it's in the cloud, you don't necessarily want everything publicly addressed. You may want to build an entire piece of infrastructure behind one singular public IP and a whole lot of private IPs on the back end in the same way you build it in a physical building. So just because it's in the cloud doesn't mean every server should have a public IP address. Matter of fact, that's a good way for threat mitigation. Even though you're supposed to be binding all the ports to local hosts and only have certain things bound to the public IP, et cetera, people don't. And putting a firewall in front helps, one more layer in between. Let's see. Yeah, we still have Pop! OS on my desktop, and we're using Parrot right here, but I'm probably going to reformat this from Parrot. The reason why is I'm having a few little issues with the latest kernel on this laptop with Parrot, so that's there. When can we expect a virtualization FreeNAS video on R27? Well, that's actually what we're going to talk a little bit about is... And that's what that video was about, was setting it up. So come on. LTS servers, we gotta get logged into something here. settings, servers. Oh, good. It's even up and running. So now we can go Deb lab server. Ooh, cam. So this is that server. Sorry, my nose is still not quite done running from there. So, hey, cool. It's all idled down. It just booted up. This is connected, though, at 10 gig. It's got the... so we go to hosts, and we're going to go to lab. There we go. 32 processors, 64 gigs of RAM. Plenty of speed. The network is connected at 10 gig, by the way. This is the 10 gig part. I just did a video on this the other day, and what I'm referring to, though, is that this is going to be the new VM host where we're going to host some fun stuff. And we created a special network over here called, where did it go? Oh, yeah, Pwnage 337. So let's actually see what happens when we boot something up. We're going to connect it to the Pwnage network. All right, it's connected. And we'll go ahead and boot it up real quick. And by the way, this is all real time, as you guys know, it's live. So let's go ahead and see just how fast does it boot. 1,000, 2 1,000. Hold on, let me check it. I'm not going to count. It'll be booted up in a second. Oh, look at that. Not cached or anything because we just booted it. So let me log into it real quick here. And there we go. It is a now 10 gig connected. It's sitting at 10337.1. You know, you got to play with it. And it's, of course, VLAN tag 1337. This was just in my video the other day for those of you that might have caught some of that. But we basically built this that server out. Now putting it in, getting it all stacked up in the back in the rack, that was all part of the process that I've been so busy doing other things. But I had to get that there. So one, Xavier's going to be able to log into it, do his part of the videos for some of the Kali Linux and things like that. And then internally here, we're going to start a whole nother series of videos on setting up your virtual labs, setting up XCP-NG version 8, which it's all running the latest one, how to do hard drive pass-throughs so you can virtualize FreeNAS but still have direct access to the hard drive. We've been testing it all out. I just haven't done the video on it. Videos start a lot of times for me as proof of concept. I don't necessarily do anything unless I've done it at least a few times, and then I do the video on it. It's way better. So that's going to be part of the fun there. Let's see. Well, I'm catching up all the questions here. 3-node Proxmox, 4 ports is perfect. Yep. Blow your nose. I think I need to. I need to probably do that real quick. Someone said, blow your nose, dude. I agree with them. How do you run any VDI in XCP? Well, I've got a whole video on how to set up XCP-NG, how to get everything going. Tutorial on how to do multiple FreeNAS web servers, Nextcloud, embody from one WAN IP address using Nginx. I'm not likely to create an entire, it's just proxy. It basically learn Nginx and how to set it up as a proxy and how to, you know, it doesn't really matter what the back end is, whether it's FreeNAS or whatever, Nextcloud, it's still Nginx proxy. So you just need to learn Nginx proxy. I mean, I've done Nginx proxy. I would not consider myself an expert in the matter. Therefore, I probably will not be doing a video on it. I don't think I'm going to learn Nginx proxy anytime soon. I'll be back in 1 second. Ugh. Now my nose is clear. Sorry about that. I couldn't wait anymore. Anyways, so you can run whatever VDI you want inside of XCP-NG. I'm going to go through, and I have several ones, but some of them are still labeled as Citrix and how to get started with this. But it's not that hard. And of course, one of the things I wanted to point out is when you pass through a 10 gig connector, you have 10 gig VMs inside of here. So the VMs can talk to each other quite fast, and even faster if you go with the internal NICs on there. I don't know what the limit is, and I have to dig into that. I think it's 12 or 16 gig. And I'll have to talk to the developer to find out where the limitation actually is, because when you have two VMs and you create a virtual network adapter, not a physical one between the two VMs, the two VMs become able to speak at an even higher speed to each other because there's not an actual physical network layer in between. The other things I want to get into eventually is the virtualization stack that they're adding. Sorry, not virtualization, but it's the new virtual network that you can create between more than one server. And that's a pretty neat feature because you can take two physically separate servers, even if they're separate as in not in the same building, but have virtual network backends between them so the VMs can all talk as if they're on the same network. That's actually a feature that they're baking in quite in an interesting way with XCP&G, which I think is really awesome, the fact that they're building that. So it's definitely really cool. Oh, let's see. Easy way to manage remote firewalls, remote offices, like copying the rules. Sure. I don't understand it as a question. What firewall? Yes, you can. You can export the rules and copy them to another firewall. Yeah, you can do reverse proxy on pfSense as well. That's HA proxy is inside there. Matter of fact, Let's Encrypt is built into pfSense. I might do some videos on that. Part of the tricky thing is we have domains registered with Hover, and with Hover, they're not one of the officially supported with the DNS. But I'm trying to figure out who is. Well, I know who is, but I'm trying to find one that I have an account with that who is, because you want to use DNS challenge to get your Let's Encrypt cert renewed, and that is supported within pfSense. So you can use a DNS challenge as opposed to a web challenge to have the Acme protocol update and get an assigned IP address to it. The other side of doing that video, I don't know any way around this, if I set up a Let's Encrypt or anything to it, I have to have a public IP address available to do that too. So I have to set it up somewhere where I have a public IP address on a pfSense that I can follow through on. So I may even build one out. Maybe I'll just build it out in Azure with a temporary IP address rather than use my company's public IP address here. I don't know. I haven't decided exactly how I want to do it. But that's going to be one of the challenges is you have to use a public IP. So when I do the video, I have to, do the Let's Encrypt, do the public IP, show how the whole system works top to bottom. So it's a little bit challenging in the way you do it. Yeah, Cloudflare is supported as well. I could put some stuff in Cloudflare. They have the DNS challenge for it as well. So it's definitely a way to do it. It's figuring out which way to do it. So is reverse proxy done on the router firewall? It can be done on the router firewall. It can be. We use reverse proxy with Apache for running Screen Connect, for example, but we're not doing it on the firewall. We're doing it directly inside of the VM itself. So you can do it either place. SolarWinds MSP for managed IT. Would you recommend SolarWinds for a home user? Not at all. It's too expensive for you to use as a home user. It's not going to be practical, I think, and I don't know this for sure, but someone said the minimum is like, I don't know, $100 or $200 a month minimum, and plus everything else. I don't know where they're at now. We've been using them for so long, and we're way over their minimum, of course, so I don't know where that point is, but they do have a minimum spend, so they're not ideal for home user. For home user, I recommend the Windows built-in antivirus. I think it works well, and some DNS filtering. Unless you're really going to get actively maintaining something, Malwarebytes is a pretty solid product for home users as well. Home user stuff is a little bit different. We don't deal a lot with it, but those things should work. Yeah, you can use. Yeah, I know they do have it. It's not about cost. I know Cloudflare doesn't cost anything. It's just a matter of moving my DNS. I don't want to move my DNS because that means I have to recreate everything. So I just got to pick a domain and do it. Does pfSense do country level blocking? They do GeoIP blocking, so yes. Can you push settings easily to remote firewalls so all devices match the main office? No, there is not a way to do that in pfSense. You know what? Even with UniFi, I don't have a desire to do that. So I guess if I was running a corporate place, a corporate chain, and I needed 50 companies to have exactly the same rule pushed, it might make sense to do it. But I don't, but you could do it if you wanted to, because it supports SSH and you can use Ansible to push configs to it. It is plausible to do it. You could push directly into the config files if you wanted to, so it's not impossible. It's just not natively built in to do so. Let's see. Well, it's not new. It's not new for XCP-ng. It's new in the way they're implementing. I know someone said VXLAN is not new. It's not VXLAN either. It's different than VXLAN. VXLAN's been around for a while too. This is different again because they're using GRE to link virtual machines together. This is Open vSwitch has been doing it for a while. Open vSwitch is old and I don't know. It's not great. It's not a well-supported project. They're doing it with GRE and just using standard open protocols, and it can be wrapped in things like IPsec, and they're just building GRE tunnels between all the servers to create these virtual networks. It is very similar, though, to VXLAN. You're not wrong. Yeah, Cloudflare is awesome. They're a solid service. I definitely think Cloudflare for DDoS protection and all the other services they offer is a solid company. Let's see, what else here? I set up HA proxy, bound to LAN interface, Cloudflare, Acme, set up DNS, override PFSense, point to server on LAN. Yeah, it's a neat. Back to why we like Netgate and PFSense. Those are advanced use cases that we have people using. That's awesome. The fact that you can do that. I'm sorry, that's not something you're going to get set up inside of here in the USG. And before someone says, what about the USG Pro 4, the more expensive one? Same problem. It's driven by the same software that the basic USG is. Those features aren't supported. Let's see. Does PFSense with Snort have the ability to monitor inside and outside interface? Yes, it does. You can monitor all the interfaces you want with PFSense and Snort. Or Suricata, by the way. Both, you have the option of either or. So if you have a preference to Snort or Suricata, and yes, you can monitor specific interfaces, and you can control the rule sets on a per interface basis. So when you're setting up Snort, and I have a video on Suricata more specifically, but they actually have the same interface to set up. You're only choosing the engine. The interface that controls them is very similar for both. But what you get is the ability to, on a per interface basis, set whether or not you want blocking. And if you have some third-party integration where it has the Barnyard interface, so you can then offload information to yet another server like a SIM tool or something like that. So, I wish XCP-ng would not do local backup when it's set for remote, as it doesn't clean up on the fly. I don't know what problem you're talking about there, but if you want to post in their forums or their GitHub, absolutely. So the reason you would choose a 16xG over an edge switch is because you like the UniFi interface in being part of the dashboard. We have a whole dashboard for UniFi, therefore we have everything in the UniFi interface. Yeah, Peplink are pretty cool. If you need that SD-WAN failover, Peplink makes some pretty reasonable devices for that particular use case. Yeah, Suricata is, I don't know where they're at, and it just goes back to years ago. Years ago when I chose Suricata, Suricata was multiple threads and Snort was not. I could be wrong in that they have updated Snort to be multi-thread, but if they're running off the same feeds and the engines seem to be really, really neck and neck with each other for detection, and it's super hard because it's a security blanket. It's not the end-all, be-all. It certainly doesn't detect everything. Too much of the data is encrypted. It's using pattern recognition to try to understand threats, so it's of limited use, in my opinion. It's better than nothing, but don't think of it as your end-all on there. And as far as I know, because Snort is multi-threaded, it was more efficient at the time for handling with a multi-threaded processor, handling the incoming traffic and parsing it out and processing it and getting the package reassembled. That's my understanding of it, and so I've been using it. What do I need to push 1 gig PFSense with IPS? I don't know, but if you go to their website, they have a picking out your firewall option on there. They have, based on what you want to do, it's the specs of the Netgate device that will fit your needs. Yeah, GRE tunnels have been around for a long time. GRE tunneling is not new. The new part is gluing GRE tunneling into XCP-ng to build the network. Once again, I love the fact that they're using standard open protocols, which are easier to understand, easier to implement, and less likely to have a problem of security or any other issues with it. Not that GRE tunnels are secure. I'm not saying that. GRE tunnels themselves are kind of like just a big tunnel that you could sniff. So you got to be careful where you put that traffic. You have to encapsulate GRE tunnels if you want them to actually be secure. It doesn't take a ton to run pfSense and IPS. But let me warn you, let's break the scenario down. This is why this is not an easy answer. 1 gig speed, if I had a single stream, I wanted to stream 1 gigabit of data through a pfSense box, and I wanted to turn IPS on. That's easy. What if I wanted to take a torrent only running at 200 megs? I would probably kill that same box and it wouldn't even be able to hit the full 200 megs. IPS looks at the packets. The more packets, not the speed of the packets, but the more packets it has to look at, which inadvertently, if you have more speed, you can get more packets through. But the more packets you have for it to process, that is your limitation for IPS. So you'll watch if you run a torrent and have IPS turned on, you'll watch the torrenting cause it to pin the processor, but you have you're downloading a handful of ISOs, some standard HTTP TCP stream, no problem, 1 gig, and the same processor doesn't choke at all, and you get the full speed out of it. That's why firewall scaling is a little bit more than just saying, well, this is the speed and how fast. It's the nuance to it is just how many streams are there going to be. Are you going to have 200 users? Because each user creates X number of streams based on what they're doing. Oh, they're using stuff in the cloud. Oh, they are using a whole bunch of things in the cloud. And every person, let's say an insurance agency, because this is common for our insurance agents, they have like 5 websites they log into, times every user inside there has to log into all the different websites for all the different quoting tools that they have. So they have this massive amount of TCP connections going on all the time. Once you start trying to IDS and look at all those streams and look through all the packets, now the server, not because of the speed, but because of the volume of packets, is being taxed a little bit more on the pfSense level. IT department, when Backup XC runs, does a local backup before it sends to remote, but the problem is when you have small drives locally, fill them quickly. Well, don't set it up that way. You can set it up to back up differently. Matter of fact, if you want to write your own backups, I think I have a video on this. There's a basic backup that's using all Linux commands to run the backup. But you can go a step further and automate that, because you can actually stream the backup over even an SSH connection to a remote site. You can import and export from the command line to another one, and you can then go a step further, put some SSH keys in there, and have transfers going back and forth between different XCP-ng servers or just some other box to land it on, so you're not creating it local and copying it out. You could create a snapshot, grab that snapshot, stream it without actually writing the file to the local device. So it's about how you configure and how you set up your virtualization stack at XCP-ng. All open source, very flexible ways of doing it. So that's something you got to kind of look at of how you want to do it. I perf will only do so many parallels, and 80 parallels is nothing compared to one torrent. One torrent, I mean, if it's a popular torrent, like a Ubuntu download of a recent version, you'll find that there's a whole lot of streams going on and a lot of connections, and way more than 80, and it will definitely cause choking of the machine. Smash that like button. 40 likes, woohoo! Do you have any experience with FortiGate firewalls? I used to do some admin stuff. I was upset, and I don't know all the details, but we had a FortiGate that kept failing, and they kept blaming the pfSense. They were out of support for FortiGate. We reminded them that there were several flaws in their FortiGate that they should really get patched. So after they spent the money to get patched and get the latest version of FortiGate, all the weird, quirky issues with the VPN stopped working. All of our side said, look, it's definitely a problem with the FortiGate. not the pfSense. The other side of that was they're like, oh, no, it's definitely a problem with the pfSense, is what the person who liked the 48 said. And in the end, they ended up ripping out the 48 because they wanted to go bigger, but the 48 was real expensive, and they already put a pfSense at one location, so now they put pfSense at their other location. They were okay. I thought their logs were terrible. They gave me so little information in the logs. It was like a mystery versus pfSense. Oh, look, tons of logs, lots of detail to tell me exactly what's going on and why a connection was dropping randomly. I don't know. It's been a little while since I dealt with them. Once again, it's not a product I think is terrible, but that lack of logging was a real pain in the butt with them. It also had a stupid logout problem. We kept setting the timer to say log me out after 10 minutes. It kept logging out after 60 seconds, and until we updated the firmware, that wouldn't stop happening. And that was the guy's like, it does that. I'm like, that's stupid. All right, smash that like button. What else are we talking about here? Oh, I can spin up more servers. So what do we got here? Whoops. I gotta spell lab properly. We'll fire up another one of these. Now this is this one here is at 10.1337.10. Fire up another one of these here. And like I said, this all comes down to how you configure all of this stuff. We're going to be doing some more virtualization for. Actually, I should copy one over. I need to get my other XCP NG servers are not connected at 10 gig to this. There's only a 1 gig between my main stack of SCP and XCP NG servers and this one. But eventually I'll have them all connected at 10 gig. I just got to do some more playing with the network. What is this one here? So we'll make this one the server. It's 10, 13, 37. And then this one we'll do. There we go. Ooh, look at that. 10 gigs of speed, 10.5 gigs between them. That's always nice. Now, when I do the virtual lab video, part of the thing I'm going to talk about is how we create some of these private networks. Because one of the things you want to do, especially if you're setting up a lab and pen testing, which is why we called it Pwnage, we're going to show, and this is something Xavier's really good at, how he goes through and does the pen testing on devices. So we're going to create a series of vulnerable devices and VMs, and we're going to have just things we plug into that VLAN. As we've propagated that VLAN, so it's going to even be over here. So when we have something we want to poke at and test, maybe even this box here, we'll poke at it and test it inside of there. We also want to do some pen testing on cameras and things like that. You know, we have some curiosity about, you know, where the vulnerabilities lie in any of these things here. Let's see. If money would not be an issue, what firewall would you choose? 100 desktops, 10 to 15 servers, or something like that. I kind of like Untangle as well. Untangle and pfSense have been kind of go-to things. They're both solid products. Untangle scratches that itch people have of wanting a dashboard and filtering and a lot more fine-grained control with a lot of automation, but that comes at a license expense. It's an open source firewall, but all the feeds cost money. So any of those enhanced features. Matter of fact, Untangle is loaded on the firewall that is, well, it's super micro server that's on the bottom right there. So I'm going to be doing some more Untangle videos as well. And that's probably the box I'm going to be doing it on because a lot of people have questions about it. Matter of fact, I should probably do this now. Let me find, where's my Untangle box? I think I have Untangle still loaded. Untangle, ooh. So I do have Untangle loaded over here, and what we're going to do is make a copy of it. Untangle. And this one's going to be Untangle Lab Demo. And we'll go ahead and send it over to the ZFS RAID on there, and we'll go ahead and zip it. Unfortunately, I'm only connected at 1 gig for this particular instance. That will be changed later, so it's not going to copy real fast, but it'll land. So I don't know, how big is it? How long will this task take? There we go. We can watch it go across. It doesn't take too long. It's probably going to take a few minutes to send it over. At 10 gig, it goes over so much faster, which is really awesome. But, you know, can't have everything we want, right? So there, I'm sending over the Untangle demo and things like that. That'll actually be the head end for the Pwnage. We'll set the Pwnage up, and we'll set Untangle as the head end for it, and that. So transferring data now. This is one of the reasons I like XCP-NG. You can just take and find a server and copy it to a whole nother stack if you want, just a couple clicks. I'm upgrading my firewalls from 20 TB FreeNAS to 36 TB Synology. I don't know what to do with the old NAS. Backups, man. You got to have two. Back one up to the other. So you can't just have it all on one NAS. You need all that data somewhere else. Compress it and stick it on the 20 terabyte server. Awesome. So you had to describe too much good stuff. Subscribe and smash that like button. Could you sell it to me super cheap? If you guys want to make an offline deal, have at it. Keep the untangle. Yeah, it's on my to-do list to get more on there. It's just a timing thing. Good to see another Meatloaf fan. Let's see. Looking for a network file share replacement solution size. Should I get a small NAS or a large enterprise? Always go redundant whenever you can. Because you don't want a single drive ever to be the point of failure, even if it's an SSD. Drives fail. Even if it's just a 2-bay basic Synology one, if you're looking just for real budget stuff, a basic Synology set up in a mirror is better than a single drive any day of the week. It's just going to be a lot better. Is NAS needed with cloud services? Absolutely. It's definitely, we have a lot of clients that have large NAS setups because, well, for example, the graphics company, which they're a client of mine, and we've been talking about stuff, but they have to have a NAS. They just have too many big files on site. Yeah, they back it up in the cloud. What happens when they have to get their data back? And this is actually a challenge for some of the MSP and ransomware and other problems there, is sometimes they pay the ransom not because they don't have the backups, it's how long it would take them to restore 20 desktops. Or even if it's a single NAS server that got encrypted, if there's 20 terabytes, 30 terabytes of data, then they run into a problem right away of going, well, it's going to take us this long to get it back or this long to decrypt it. And here's the cost. And if the business makes X dollars per day or is losing X dollars per day by being down, that ransomware cost may be reasonable. So I'm not saying they should pay the ransomware. I'm against paying the ransomware, but in situations where if you go out of business, I don't know that that's a win. If the company goes, well, we're going to go out of business because we're going to stand by our principles of not paying the ransomware, that's not really a win. XCP&G is my favorite for virtuals. Yes, I am a big fan of XCP&G for virtual installations, and so are a lot of ISPs, so are a lot of large companies that are doing very large installs with it. I think even Willie had tagged me that he's doing something like a few hundred VMs, and they're looking at a large XCP&G system to do it all in. I'm really happy with it. If you go in their forums, one, they're very responsive. Two, there's just a ton of installs out there, more than you'd think, because they took over for Citrix. Citrix Zen Server was a huge product before Citrix made some horrible choices with the product that led to XCP&G, which is an open source alternative, but a drop-in replacement for Citrix Zen Server. So the whole story, it's just a drop-in. They can start with Citrix. They can go, well, I'm tired of Citrix and their shenanigans with licensing and confusion. So you can over the top and keep all your VMs, bring over XCP&G, and add it to your stack. Matter of fact, we have a few clients who have a mixed stack. They're still running some Citrix, they're still running some XCP&G, and it all works. The two will actually talk to each other. Yeah, Synology NAS synced with Google Drive. Not a bad choice either. It syncs with both Google Drive and the Office product. Yeah. I mean, I don't have anything against. We have plenty of clients using ESXi. It's not a horrible product or anything. Yes, XCP&G does HA and cluster. With no licenses, by the way. So you get the full-blown bells and whistles, HA cluster, blah, 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 and it does not have a license fee. NG versus ESXi. Oh, look. We have talking points. So, now, XCP&G with Zen Orchestra, the web interface that you see me using. So let's see which one has more. Web console manage, use an orchestra for that. Basic admin, live VM, live VDI migration, high availability, check, check, check. Hyperconvergence, sure do, vSAN, ExoSAN. Console view, yep. Tool updates, yep. Automatic updates, well, they'd have it. Thin provisioning, yep, they have that too. Health status, got that. Role-based administration, yep. SSO ACLs, self-service, scheduled tasks, yep. Check the boxes here. Basic backup, yep. Delta backup, oh, it looks like they don't have it there. File level restore, nope. Continuous replication, boy, I love this feature. We're using that right now. Continuous replication is awesome. Load balancing, yep, they have that, but ESXi doesn't. But they have it over here, so if you guys are asking, here, we'll drop a link here, so don't take my word for it. We'll go over here to the chat. There we go. Proxmox is solid too. I have no problem with Proxmox. Proxmox, matter of fact, I talked to a company that was looking into, well, they haven't, I shouldn't say looking, they are migrating away from ESXi over to Proxmox with Ceph. And it's a very large company. I thought that was really interesting, talking about their stack. But yeah, they're corporate entity moving over to that, and that's a good solution for them. So, buying gold, anticipation, X recession. I don't know. Not my thing. Yeah, Proxmox stuff good. Home Lab, try it out. Switching from Proxmox to XCP-NG. I think either one's good. I know XCP-NG. It's what we have a lot of clients on, so it's something I like. Let's see. Have I checked out BitChute? No interest in BitChute. Let's see. You might look into a cheap NAS or at least one sort of local replication of my data. Replicate your data as much as possible. That's, if you can replicate it 3 times, that's even better. Yeah, I have nothing against Proxmox. I think it's a solid product. Matter of fact, Proxmox versus XCP-NG, I think I've done a video where I talk about them. They both have their merits. Proxmox, especially in the latest version, by adding Ceph support and a few other things, is definitely, if you have a need for something like that, then it's a solid solution. There's other ways to do XCP-NG because a lot of times in the larger corporate enterprise way, people will have an XCP-NG server and then a FreeNAS box that they have attached. So, or whatever. Actually, we worked with a company that had XCP-NG and a Dell storage vault attached with iSCSI, which was a headache because of the Dell Power Vault weird quirks with it. But anyways, whatever you want to use is an iSCSI target, and that iSCSI target can have a variety of storage options behind it. So you can use XCP-NG as a hypervisor. Proxmox is cool because they're integrating everything right into the hypervisor and the whole stack that runs Proxmox. But yes, when you get to XCP-NG, there's a little bit more flexibility, I think, with XCP, but it comes down to what's your use case, and I think either product you can build a really good commercial solution out of. Yeah, Proxmox plus Ceph is definitely popular. You'll need to buy individual Windows licenses on XCP. Well, I mean, if you run one terminal server, you don't. So that comes down to how you want to set things up. Just want to say SMLR raised the bar ever since you joined, and the new lineup, including Tony, Phil, and Jay, is freaking awesome. Hey, awesome. Glad we have an SMLR listener. Yeah, yeah, Ceph is definitely coming along. It's very interesting. My preferred backend, but it's for the use case that I'm using it for. It would not fit, for example, the people that were using Ceph. The scale and scope of their company is why they wanted to use Ceph. So I think it's pronounced CEPH for those wondering if you want to look it up. Really, that's what it comes down to is, are you at that scale? Do you have the number of servers this company had, which is quite a few, the number of employees, the volume at which they have to support their clients, and the amount of integrity they needed, including basically having 2 data centers for failover and everything. This was at scale. So they had some really interesting products out, interesting challenges due to the scale and scope of their company. You won't find any MikroTik stickers on my laptop, sorry. You can't build your own Synology box. Well, I take that back. Yes, someone's going to point out there's a hacked version of DSM. I forget what it's called. Generally, no, you're not. If you're going to go build one, go build a FreeNAS box. Maybe XenOrchestra is like vCenter. XenOrchestra is pretty much the interface I prefer to use for it, but you can use the native Windows software for the interface that they have. Oh, does it have, well, let's talk about that. So if we go over here and we're going to go Windows, yep, on lab. A lot of people, I don't know. I've had this dumb argument with people. Oh no, it doesn't support Windows. It runs Windows perfectly fine. Matter of fact, we have clients running a bunch of Windows servers inside of here. Now, has trouble running Mac OS? Yeah, that's a different. They're not going to cater to the Mac market, not unless they like legal problems. So when you say it doesn't support Mac, well, no one really wants to, because it's kind of, no one wants to make a mainstream type product that has Mac virtualization support because they don't like getting sued. Mac is suing some other company right now. I can't remember their name, but they're suing them, who created a virtualization product that supported Mac. And well, even though it's loading updates, here we go. It's loading updates and still boots up reasonably fast inside here. And this is not some rocket screaming machine. So, but yeah, we booted this right up and away we go. This is running Windows. Woohoo! Some of the lag is actually not Windows lagging. I'm running on wireless and then attaching to this console here via wireless and everything. So FYI, but it works here. It runs Windows perfectly fine. For those who didn't know or wanted to know, this is part of our lab environment. So we're going to be, forking and snapshotting. Matter of fact, one of the things you can do is we'll go ahead and shut this down. Shut down. Yeah. Do your thing, Windows. So this is, let me move my head out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. There's just some buttons up here. So let's say we wanted to snapshot it, and we'll do this real quick. Let's snapshot before we broke things. And then we'll go ahead and fire this up. And we'll see the console here. And let this boot up. Actually, look some chat comments real quick. Well, it takes a second. You can run Mac OS on ESXi, but only if you run ESXi on a Mac. Yeah, there's all kinds of weird things on there. Mac OS, see, but that's not the same as running a whole virtualization stack and running a bunch of Mac servers. I know it's supported where you can virtualize it within, but that's a whole different scenario. Is XO still a little pain set up for the free version? Yes, if you wanted the full load of it on the free version, yes, it's going to be... it's probably going to be, delete Windows System 32. Hey, why not? Let's break this. So how fast can we break something? So if we go over here, what do you want? I don't know. Why don't we delete everything? Are you sure? Hey, why not? Access denied. Hold on here. I need privileges here. CMD. I need to do something really stupid right now. All right. Whoops. Are you sure? Why not? Oh, still denying me access, but I wonder if it's going to break in general. What else can I do to break this? I mean, if I leave Windows alone long enough, it'll break itself with an update, right? That's how this works. Can I just delete everything out of here? Well, will this break it? Are you sure? Well, that's broke. So let's see what happens when we restart it. Does Windows just crap all over itself when we do this? Let's have fun breaking Windows. While it's thinking about booting. Throw a command. What should I type in here? Yeah, delete CMD. Papa West feels really good. I don't think she's gonna boot, folks. Oh, here we go. We got something going on over here. It's thinking. Run as commander. Schmod77. Cowsay. I love Cowsay. Oh. Yeah. Why do I not have Cowsay installed? This is a travesty here. All right. My computer's not fast for those that didn't notice. It's running too many things. I haven't used Auvik, but or ConnectWise Automate. I don't use those tools, so I don't have an answer for them. Deltree C-Y. Is Deltree still in there? Cowsay. There we go. There's the Cowsay for you. So, oh, that did not break it. So we can actually, I got to break this better. I'm bad at breaking Windows. Can I just move System32 somewhere it ain't supposed to be? So, can we rename Windows? Oh, the rename doesn't even show up here, does it? What do these things do? Are they important? Can we delete them? Do this. Continue. Try again. I wonder if they're important at all. Well, you know, the point of this video isn't really, I mean, I know I could eventually break Windows. And we'll delete all these things real quick. So if we go here and, oh, it's because they're pinned. Damn it. Whatever. If I needed to restore this to some other former glory, and we'll just do this here, just drag them here. Oh, it's because I got the recycle bin chose. I'm bad at Windows, for those of you that didn't know. Hey, look, we deleted all that stuff on there. We'll try restarting it one more time. But I wanted to show you how quick the restores are and things like that. This is one thing nice about the whole XCP-NG. So let's answer a few more questions. This is a ThinkPad X250. Don't get too excited. It's not that great. It was a great laptop. In its day, it was better. It's so good. It works. I didn't structure what Deltree was. Delete the reg keys. There we go. So Deltree's still in here. That's interesting. Yeah, regedit. There we go. Take ownership. There we go. And then regserv. All right, these are good ideas. Let's see if Windows even starts up anymore. Wow, Windows is actually making it harder to break itself. Yeah, whatever. But if we wanted to restore something, so let's just go ahead and stop it. So we'll stop Windows. And you've seen I deleted a bunch of files and goofed up the icons and things like that. So let's go over here to the snapshot and revert. I don't want another snapshot before. Hit OK. That's it. Instantly reverted. And this is one way to do it. The other way to do it, and this is actually kind of cool too. So I can go through, create a VM from the snapshot, export this, copy it, revert back to the snapshot because we just did. But this is one of the reasons I like it. It's just very fluid how it works inside of XCP-NG. And when it boots now, it's going to be exactly restored to the original glory of, what do we call the snapshot? Before we broke things. which we actually didn't break things as bad as I thought. But Windows works perfectly fine. The restore works perfectly fine. And all the icons will be back on the desktop, blah, blah, blah. Now, one of the other things, and I'll mention this here, is like the continuous replication. And we'll just pull this up, for example. Every hour, Invoice Ninja, our tool for invoicing, replicates itself. We have backup ongoing with it, but this is a whole nother synchronization. And you can see how fast it's replicating between the two servers that we have here. Started at 6:20 p.m. and finished at 2 seconds later. So, and it took all of 9 seconds to copy the data over. It just says a few seconds because there's not that many changes from hour to hour and things like that. This is that continuous replication based on the deltas. This is one of the other features we really like because what does that mean? Well, that means if the main server were to die, because I don't have 3 of them for an HA, I only have 2. If you have 3, you can set up an HA if you have common storage, but then you have to build a redundant storage server because the storage server becomes the failure point at that point, so I'm not worried about it. If the main server fails, we're using the local storage on the main server, and then the secondary server, we have storage as well. We're replicating it too. So if you were to, I don't know, something catastrophe happened to the main server, you just press play, and it would start up the VM based on its latest snapshot on there instantly, and we'd be back up and running in a matter of minutes. Minutes. I think it takes about 30 seconds to boot and a few minutes to realize that it had gone down. So from the time you go, hey, that's interesting, that server has a lot of smoke coming out of it, all the magic smoke comes out of a server, to actually having the VM restored can be just a few minutes, provided you only have the magic smoke coming out of one server. Let's see. Hard shutdown during an update, and it doesn't take much to break. That's true. ESXi does the same thing, same speed. Yeah, ESXi is a solid product, but once you start getting into all those advanced features in ESXi, you pay a lot of licensing fees. It's not open source. That's definitely one of the big differences. Once you start playing with all these advanced features in XCP and G, you're like, hey, does it do the things that ESXi does? Sure does, but it doesn't without license fees. And for some of these companies, these license fees are getting kind of out of hand, and they don't like being held hostage. Let's see. Every time after updates on Windows screens, same time, yep. Let's see what else we got. Last time I had Windows 10, I was using Chinese Government Edition. That's interesting. I had to do registry hack to make it English. I don't have any Ryzen problems with Linux, but I know that there were some minor issues, but they were so quick to fix them. I think the one issue that people had was fixed within 24 hours. So, yeah. And what a lot of these companies are, you can manage Docker with XCP and G. There's a way to do it. It has cloud in it and Docker, but I'm not familiar with, I've not done any work on those. You have issues on Ryzen on mobile, so if you don't report the issues never get fixed. So don't report them to me because I am not a kernel developer. Any suggestions? I need a working RDP client for Pop! OS. X2Go? I have a whole video on X2Go. That's what you can do to remote desktop in there if you want. I use it sparingly. I never really need to go back into my machine with X2Go. So, I mean, it's cool, but I don't really, yeah. The VMware is bad with licensing, and we run into a lot of clients with a lot of issues with it, because once they get to the scale, and that's actually the company that I was speaking of that's moving to Proxmox, that was one of the challenges, is they were just like, they feel so unpredictable, like their bottom line has changed over the years. They've been using ESXi for a long time. They've been around for a long time, but they're like, yeah, our bottom line just gets changed because license fees go up. And you're like, that's just the cost of it, you know, and they don't like that kind of unpredictability that happens when you talk about a company over time. And they have a really smart IT team. So they're like, we've never needed support. We know how the system works. We would like the minimum of just wanting to use it. So OpenStack, no real thoughts on OpenStack. I've not used it, so I have people using it, but they admit it themselves, so I don't have any information on it. Apt install. Yeah. What else? Oh, we didn't lose money this month. That was just me being excited. I finished my, the accounting last night, and we didn't lose money. And I say that because we lost money several months in a row. That happens a lot in business. It's not. And here's the thing: there's two sides to the business. There is the side of the MSP side, which is wonderfully predictable. The money comes in, it comes in at this amount, you pay this much for your tooling, you pay this much for your labor, and what's left over is profit. That seems very predictable. You have a steady cash flow. But when you do projects like infrastructure, people don't always pay you on time. So you end up with a bunch of money owed to you, and payments come in at different times and things like that. So you end up with some losses on some months and gains on the other, and profit and loss. And I was going to do a video on it today, and I got preoccupied with about 20 other things, and I didn't. But a lot of people ask me, it's one of the important numbers of looking and running a business. I always recommend getting a good accountant if you're going to start a business. Make sure someone puts the forms properly with IRS, but understanding your P&L, your profit and loss sheet, and where those numbers and how those numbers work, what monies come in, what monies go out, is a important aspect of managing a business. And if you ever need to get a loan, the second important one is going to be your balance sheet. You want to be able to go, hey, this is what my balance sheet looks like. This is my shareholder equity. This is the outstanding liabilities and assets that I have, and being able to summarize those and understand them, because the bankers don't talk to your accountant generally, or maybe you can get them to talk to your accountant, but the bankers want to talk to you to decide to give you a loan. So those are things that you should have in order. And this question came up because I was doing some consulting with someone who was starting a business, and I said, they're like, what do you need to know? And I went down that explanation. I said, but this makes a good video. This is not anything that's secret knowledge about this, but it's an important aspect of the video, is making sure that you understand those numbers and that you have them put together and where you stand. And later, of course, this leads to cash flow prediction to try to figure out when you're going to be able to pay things in case you need to loan or overextend yourself. But I'm actually happy to say that we don't have any loans right now, so that makes it easier for us. OVA import and Proxmox, to my knowledge, is still a headache. I use Ramina for RDP. Yeah, if you're going to RDP away from Pop! OS, Ramina, REMMINA, is a good tool. Can you make polls on there? Let me look. I don't think so. Can I make a poll? Nope. It does not appear to be an option. If it is, I don't know where it is. Let's see here. Oh yeah. Make sure you change the settings for the Ramia desktop. That's true. What else we got here? Learn Linux TV has good remote cloud desktop video you can use. Same process. Yes, they have a lot of great. Jay has some great videos on Learn Linux TV. His YouTube channel is awesome. Yeah, avoid debt like the plague. Yep. Sometimes you need capital, but yeah, it's one of those things you have to be very careful. And I've actually been watching the market. It's really interesting. So all these payday loan things, people trying to extend out their paychecks, that same concept is being applied to small businesses. I get a lot of letters in the mail from all these companies that are like, hey, we'll give you this instant loan and instant approval. 21% interest rate. Yeah, they're they're the same thing. It's predatory lending targeted at small businesses who they think may be cash strapped. So you have to be careful not to get yourself cash strapped, because if you end up in one of those situations, and once you start paying those minimum payments on interest rates, you're kind of in the trap of doing that. We self-fund our projects, so that's not an issue for us. Is there any RDP for Linux support audio pass-through? I don't know. X2Go has audio options, I guess, if that's what you're asking. Oh, my son has joined the live stream. Do you want a pizza, Marcus? That's my son, Marcus Lawrence, in there. I'm getting a DLP 380 Gen 8. I use ES6. What would be the best thing to use on it? Whatever you want to use on it. I don't understand. I don't know how to answer those questions. I use things based on what I need them for, not there. If not, load all of them on there. Oh, awesome. Thank you for signing up with IT Pro TV. That's, like I said, that's awesome. Order the pizza now. I gotta wait till my son replies to see if he wants the pizza. I need to know if he wants a pizza, because he randomly wants pizza. Maybe he messaged me on my phone. Let me look. Does it say, Dad, pizza? That's what I'm looking for. There's not a Dad pizza message on my phone right now. Oh, interesting. That's a different email. So, it was a pizza, yes. Okay, Marcus does want pizza. Okay, I'll get Marcus a pizza. Yep, Marcus wants a pizza. Pizza. So, X to go, Marcus says he can hear Eric laugh. Eric's laughing in the other room when he came through. That's great. My son does not eat salad, unfortunately. We're working on it. You know, he's kind of a pizza kid. I'm kind of a pizza person too, so I'm not. I've not been the best example. I did eat healthy. We like smoothies. If you mush vegetables into a smoothie form, I will consume them. I actually don't eat horrible, but everyone heard the laugh. So, is there anything else? What else was I doing? Oh, untangle. We have that now. So we have untangle in the puddle over here, and we have untangle here. So we got the demo set up. So I have to get the untangle set up and going here. I gotta figure out what to attach it to. V10 Lab sounds good. So we'll play with that. Well, this is from future videos and all that fun stuff. We'll get untangle rolling, get all this fun stuff to play with here. So many things to play with, so little time, and I'm actually getting a little bit tired. You can tell I've been here since early in the morning, and at about 7 is, I don't leave at 7 all the time. Sometimes I stay later, sometimes I leave earlier, but sometimes when I've run out of steam. That's probably something I thought about doing a video just generally talking about this, of how you should take care of yourself, as in, some people equate being somewhere all the time as the same as being effective. There comes a diminishing return, and even if you're a workaholic. And John Carmack, I listened to an interview with him on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he talks about this a lot. He goes, there's sometimes he stops working on whatever he's working on because he says, I'm no longer effective. I've run out of energy. I'm not going to be effective. Being here would not be useful. I may as well do something else or find something relaxing to do. And that, with a business, because there's always an infinite number of things for me to do, it's a matter of picking and choosing, trying to figure out which ones I have time to complete, which ones I will complete, and then trying to relax when it's all said and done. So, yeah. Oh, Xavier's here. Hey, Xavier. So, so I see Xavier jumped in the live stream here. And if you didn't know, How They Got Hacked has its own YouTube channel. Please go find How They Got Hacked. And I've been posting them over in my forums, bringing the audience over there. That's a dedicated show now, and we're going to be doing more stuff. Xavier has his own channel, so let's get that posted in there. I know, 200 of you and only that many likes. What are we talking about here? So also, 200 of you here. Let's see. Let's find Xavier's YouTube. Let's throw some love over his way. He's making some hacking videos. Let me find his YouTube channel link. So, there we go. There you go. If any of you haven't, go check out Xavier's YouTube channel. And then we'll also drop in. This is where we do the other one. Woohoo! Hey, Marcus, you can't vape bees here. So, Eric needs medical. Are you going to do Marcus the new? My son isn't much for motorcycles. My daughter rides motorcycles. My son does not. He likes scooters, though. He likes the electric scooter a lot. Yeah, work-life balance is important. How they got hacked is YouTube only. I don't know. Maybe we'll work on pulling it out to be audio and turn into a podcast as well to make it easier to listen to. It's not too hard to do that. So that's been on my to-do list. So a few people have asked me if I can do this as audio, but the problem is I have too many times I'm switching between screens where that wouldn't be effective. So yeah, scooter's fun. Yeah. I notice you don't use a mouse. Is that a ThinkPad? Yes. There's a review of this laptop. If you look at my channel, type in Lenovo X250 on my channel, you'll find I reviewed this laptop. I've had it for years. I like it. It's a good laptop, but it is what it is. It's getting a little long in the tooth. It's an older i5. What is the specs on this thing? Here, we'll share it with the crowd, share it for everybody here. It's running Parrot GNU Linux 4.7, KD Plasma 5.145, and it is a 4-core, well, 4 with the, I think it's a dual with a hyper, i5 5300U at 2.3 gigahertz. It is not a screaming fast machine here, so it gets the job done. And most of your network engineering stuff, by the way, doesn't require a whole lot of extra horsepower. So it's good for network engineering. It's bad for video editing. It's just not fast enough to keep that done. So let's see. Oh, wireless or this. So it's got the J mouse on it, which I'm not the biggest fan of. I use a touchpad, but it does have the I don't know what you call it. I've always called them the J mouse, but the little red nub right there. So it moves the mouse around. So I don't use that very often, but it's there. It's the same 10 gig switch I've had. So you missed the beginning. If you don't feel like scrolling back and watching it all again, yes, it is a 10 gig switch I had in the lab. It's the same one I've used for a while. It's a UniFi USG XG6, I'm sorry, not USG, XG16, which has 12 SFP plus ports and has 4 RJ45 10 gig ports. Great switch, been using it for a while now, and we like it. Ain't broke, don't fix it. Works really well, gets full 10 gig support without a headache. The little red nipple, that's right, the ThinkPad nipple. I like the Pinebook. I may order a Pinebook. They are a device that I think is really cool. So I'm really hoping the Pinebook is as good as I hope it is. I like the concept of ARM laptops a lot. And on the latest version of the Sunday Morning Linux review, we discussed the fact that there's better and better ARM support. Specifically, there's a Phoronix article talking about the Yoga laptops that were designed to run Chrome, but will also run Linux, and they're getting better support. And it kind of makes, people looking for an inexpensive network engineering laptop, and I say network engineering because you want to do some, testing and things like that. This laptop, other than I'm mad because the latest version of Parrot, they're using the 5.2 kernel, and there's an ACPI problem, which means it won't go to sleep now. That's annoying. But having all those tools when you want to do a bunch of testing is really cool to have on a laptop to do network diagnostics. So yeah, Samsung's got the ARM laptop, and Samsung's working with Ubuntu to create some interesting things as well. I'd seen a video on it by, I think, ETA Prime, but I haven't dug into it yet. But I think that's kind of cool that they're working on more ARM versions of Linux. ARM has a power efficiency especially for a lower powered device where you don't need as much horsepower, but you go, hey, I want something that I can leave on for 12 and 20 hours at a time. ARM-based processors do that rather well. Oh, let's see. Qualcomm HCX is pretty awesome chip. Yeah. The ACHI can be a little bit tricky. His laptop on your ARM. ARM on Arch is great too. Cool. There are sometimes the ACPI problems have been around for a while. They're getting better, but yeah, there's just some issues. Apparently, the latest kernel, I don't know why it doesn't work on this Lenovo. You figure this Lenovo, being all Intel-based, would have no problems at all. I would expect on a new processor like a Ryzen to have ACPI problems. I'm running Pop! OS, the latest version, on my Ryzen 3900X, and it has zero issues at all. It is rock solid stable. It has no problems going to sleep. Matter of fact, I've only had to reboot it once because of a kernel update. So, and it's been running for weeks without a reboot. I've been, loading all the patches. I patch every day. Anytime there's an update, I load it right away. But it's been rock solid with there. So when I see people saying, "Oh, Linux and 3900X," I kind of don't get the problem because I'm not running any problem. Maybe if you ran an old kernel, maybe if you're going, well, it doesn't work with my old kernel because I like running 4 versions behind on Linux, well, yeah, you're probably going to have problems. If you're running a modern, recent distribution, it seems to work wonderful. So I don't know why you wouldn't want to run Ryzen and Linux together. Unless you're just a Windows fanboy, then go run Windows. Or if you're a gamer, it's getting better on Linux. That's all I'll say. It's not perfect. Disabled external SATA and it loaded. That's an interesting thought. I haven't tried that, and I haven't really dug into it because it only updated a few days ago to the recent kernel, and I'm like, the workaround to it is you turn ACPI off and it boots and it works. So I haven't really dug into the why. Yeah, first gen Threadripper, there was some issues. By the way, the new EPYC processors are damn amazing. The reviews that Phoronix has had on them, I'm excited. All the new server equipment that's going to be AMD, that is lower wattage, higher processing power, but without all that extra wasted heat. The EPYC processors are really looking nice. I know Amazon and Google are betting big on AMD. They're going to start loading up their data centers with them. So it may be, I'm not going to say the fall of Intel, and I'm not like that where I think Intel needs to fall, but I like to see some competition in market because Intel, as I understand, Intel has like 99% of the entire data center market. That's as close of a monopoly as you can get, and it's because Intel had a superior product until these latest AMDs. AMD in the server market was never your best choice. We actually have an AMD server floating around. I think it's on the floor over here. Dude, that thing is like a blow dryer, and it's not very fast. I mean, it is just monstrous amounts of heat coming out of it. It's an older one of their processors, but yeah, I understand why it was never a popular board. I think the Pinebook does have Ethernet. Yeah, I've got a Windows for desktop gaming too. That's why I'm not going to pick on people too bad. Linux Mint is pretty neat. Tony from SMLR, big Linux Mint guy. He's been using it for a long time. One downside of Linux Mint is, I know when they do version upgrades, there was you always had to like reload. You could back up your data, but they didn't have a clear upgrade between version upgrades. I think they may have fixed that. I'm not a Mint person, so I don't know. But I remember Tony always had challenges when they had full releases that came out. Yeah, some people do miss, good old kernel 2046. What are you going to say, man? Linux kernel code names. See if I can find this page because not everybody knows this. But this is great. So if you didn't know, and this is great, the first Linux was called Linux 95. There's your first piece of trivia that's entertaining. The next one was Greased Weasel, Brown Paper Bag, Greased Turkey, Feisty Dunart, Zonked Quokka, Woozy Nombat. You thought Ubuntu had some strange names until you go through here. And Yokohama, Flesh-Eating Bats with Fangs was a 236, Sneaky Weasel, Wet Seal, Unicycling Gorilla, Displaced Humorous Anterior, Black Squirrel Wake Up Call, Diseased Newt, Shuffling Zombie Juror. Now, my favorite was 4.7 when it was called, what was that one? Yeah, was it 4.7 Psychotic Stone Sheep. Roaring Lioness Anniversary Edition. They do sometimes play with the Microsoft things. People's Front, Shy Crocodile, Golden Lions, and the 5.2 is called Bobtail Squid. So if you didn't know, here, we'll drop that list in the chat here. There are a lot of fun names in the history of Linux kernel. So not everyone even knows them as names. So fun times. Let's see. Yeah, Proton's pretty cool. It's definitely getting there. Sheep on meth. Why not? Let's see here. Linux for workgroups. Yes. Yes. Well, yeah, when you don't have a market, when you have an entire operating system not governed by corporate bureaucracy, but instead by a bunch of nerds, you end up with really fun names. There's no doubt about that. Mother Forker. I like Mother Forker. Yeah, Debian names are... Well, Debian, if you're not familiar with, was named after all Toy Story characters. And Debian itself is Deb and Ian. Ian, Deborah, and Ian were... Ian being the founder of Debian, who has since passed away. But yeah, that's how that name came to play. And they're all of the Debian names, and we could probably look them up real quick. Debian code names. Jump to that real quick. So yeah, Buzz Lightyear, Rex, Bo Peep, Ham, Slinky Dog, Mr. Potato Head, Woody, Rubber Octopus from Toy Story 3, which is a stretch here, Buster, Bullseye, and Sid. Unstable, the next door neighbor. So yeah, they've had, like I said, a familiar set of names as well. So the whole history of Toy Story. It took long behind the name Squeeze. You know, Alan was the alien toys who appeared in Toy Story 2. So yeah, they've had the same history of a lot of cool naming things and stuff like that. So I'll drop that link in there in case people want to read it. Get Mother Forker. I like it. I think all of us tech folks are huge on... if there's iterations or play on words and puns, we are all over it. If we could just name everything with a bunch of play on words and puns, we are thrilled with it. So that is definitely fun. What else we got? I may be running out of things. I mean, I could talk about more stuff, but at some point, my kid wants pizza and it's 7 o'clock. So I am going to get out of here. I have been babbling at you for 1 hour and 37 minutes. Thank you for joining me. I have like 200 of you that were hanging out here. Before you go, if you could smash the like button, click on an affiliate link, or any of those fun things if you have something you want. Check out our Amazon store, our kit pages, or our many, many fine YouTube videos. We are getting close, folks. We are getting close to the 900 mark. And 100,000 mark. So I think I'm at like 79,000 people, and I'm also getting close to 900 videos uploaded, which is pretty wild. Matter of fact, how many videos do I have? So we can see all this together. Milestones. 185 more people. We're going to be at 79,000 subscribers. And I'm 27 videos away from having 900 uploads to the channel. I think 1,000 would be the better milestone. So once I get to 1,000, so, 100 and some odd videos away, 100 and a lot. I'm tired, I can't math. 20 million views. Only got the views are interesting because every video I have bumps all the other videos. So this is kind of exponential. Every time you add a video, and if that video has a related video that I referenced in it, which I frequently do because I'm trying to build things and stack on top of other pieces of knowledge, so it bumps all the views of the previous video. So this number is actually, it's funny when they cross like 1 million views, the 10 million view mark wasn't very far behind the million view mark, but it took a really long time to get to the million view mark. So now we're excited to get to the 20 million view mark, which, by the way, for some of the big YouTubers is one video for them. But I'm not mainstream, so that's not really going to happen. Is there any other questions before I wander off so I can get some pizzas or questions? Oh, awesome. Glad you ordered a Neck 8 device. How many times can we smash the like button per person? Once, as far as I know. Your affiliates link work on mobile. Yes, they do, as far as I know. Oh, Kyle fixed some of the problems with the mobile one, though. Untangle stuff for the 30 or 40 video. Yeah, there's a good chance of it. I want to do some untangle videos. It's not, like I said, I don't want to only do pfSense. You guys like doing more stuff. We just use pfSense a lot. So, because people, well, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Have a lot of videos about complicated things you do with pfSense. End up with a lot of people calling you to do more complicated things with pfSense. Then you make more videos about complicated things you do with pfSense. So it's that's I think how that works. That's how all of this works. Anytime I talk about it, someone wants to contract us for a project on it, and I go, well, that's interesting, and then we do the project, and I'll take that maybe unique scenario and turn it into the next video that we talk about. So definitely some fun stuff. So I am out of here, folks. People have odd, complicated use cases. That they do. People ask me for weird stuff all the time. Maybe I should make the weird things people ask me to do on pfSense. But hey, whatever. Woohoo, we got more. 50% of the people liked. So, hi from the Upper Peninsula. Woohoo, all the way up there. Y'all, we got a y'all in here. Y'all okay? Isn't that what started the chicken sandwich war of 2019 was the tweet, y'all okay? I think that was like the catalyst for the chicken war, the chicken sandwich war of 2019. So I have snort videos, by the way, go on my channel. And if you didn't know, I don't want to be an ass, but sometimes one of the most popular questions people seem to have is this. And let me show you how this works. So if we go here, we go to the channel, and this works for everybody's YouTube channel, and someone said, snort, do a snort video. If you type snort, look, amazing, look, snort, all these snort videos, and there's also a Suricata video. So we can go here, and we can look at SURICATA and just find those. And YouTube is smart enough to go, the people who watch these videos that are in the first result probably watch these other videos. Oh, refresh the page. Whoops, I gotta spell Suricata right. You get the idea. We'll type in pfSense. So I'm getting tired and I'm typoing everywhere. It'll sort by my most popular videos on pfSense. Obviously, stacking things together, we'll get this there. People always ask me about Squid Proxy, so I have a video about Squid Proxy and the challenges with it. But yeah, look at all these videos related to it. Search my channel. Once you build a library with almost 900 videos, even I may forget that I have published a video on something. I myself will confirm that I have done a video on something by going here and seeing if I did a video on something. So I encourage you, if there's something you're looking for, see if I have it. I've built quite the library, and I'm going to continue building it. But yeah, feel free to check my channel. I've replied with people, with just a link to the search results. Let's see. Yep, get pizza. I'm out. I'm going to press the end stream button. Usually Xavier does this on how they get hacked. Where do we go here? Go to main camera. You can kind of see it. Does it get in focus? If I put it by my face. I don't know if you can see it. It's got it cool. The animations on the Stream Deck are cool. I do a review of the Stream Deck, but like there's a million people who reviewed the Stream Deck who actually know a lot more about it than me. But the Stream Deck is how we do all this video switching magic, is with this little magic box right here. Love this little magic box. But now I got to press the button on the magic box. And it's Xavier's button to press on Fridays. It's mine to press on Thursdays. And I'll see you guys, whenever. Yeah, the lighting makes it hard. Yes, I need to make a big red version of this button. Unfortunately, the color scheme on this is not red. Thanks.